Hey everybody, I'm your host George Salazar. Welcome back to La Carnita Asada. Today we'll be supporting street vendors in Little Village, 26th Street. We'll be having some arroz con leche with chicharrones. Today's guest is Noemi Ibarra, a content creator on Chicago Southside. Hey Noemi, how have you been?
I'm good, thank
How's your
you.
week so far?
So far, it's been non-eventful. It's only Tuesday, so
Yeah, I feel you. So I want to talk a little bit about that social media content creator thing.
sure.
So before we started the show, I asked what do you want to be introduced as, and you said you'd rather be introduced as content creator versus social media influencer. Could we talk a little bit about that? Like, why would you prefer that?
Yeah, I think there's just a negative connotation with influencers. I think they have a bad rep for like going for brands, kind of like doing everything in the eyes of what a brand wants.
Okay.
Versus like content creators are really just creating content for themselves or like for the community, which is kind of what I consider myself to be. It's like I create content around things I enjoy and then, kind of more so for my community.
Yeah. I was actually talking to Ernesto about that earlier this week. So like, I play baseball and like I work out and stuff. So I was like, hey, I want to try to like create little TikToks or like little reels to sort of like go day by day, like a day in the life of like a senior high school athlete or something like that,
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense. But like, I definitely think I'd be doing stuff so like
Why
the
don't you?
brands.
Why don't you?
Huh?
Why don't you?
Actually, he's giving me my tripod today. You better have
Okay.
it too. So let's just get into it. Young Naomi, I know you grew up on Chicago's South Side.
Yep.
What neighborhood?
I grew up in Archer Heights, right on Pulaski and Archer.
Okay.
In front of, is it Curie High
Oh
School?
shit. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that neighborhood, like what it's like growing up there, family, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with a huge family. I have 10 siblings, so it was always loud and fun.
How many siblings?
10.
Shit.
Yeah.
How many boys? How many girls?
There's 4 boys and 7 girls,
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
11 total, yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely crazy.
It was crazy. It was fun, honestly. Like me and my sisters, we would spend time at the library all the time. There was a library, I don't know if you know, right there on Pulaski and Archer. We would go to the grocery store together. We would go to the park. The
Yeah.
park, actually, the Chicago Park District has a lot of classes, like ballet classes, gymnastics. So my mom signed us up for that. We were always busy as kids. It was a fun childhood. I think it wasn't. I mean, I grew up really poor, obviously, with 10 kids. It wasn't until like high school that I realized like we were poor.
Yeah. So mom and dad both in the picture, or just mom?
Growing up, both were in the picture, and then unfortunately, my dad stepped away from the family, so my mom ended up raising the younger ones. The 4 older ones kind of were old enough to move out on their own, so my mom raised the 7 of us on her own.
Yeah, I mean, I only ask because like it's sort of the same for like me and my little brother over there. So our dad wasn't ever really in the picture. Like when we were around 2 years old, sort of stepped out on us,
Yeah.
and like we see him once in a while. He'll give us a call, but it's not really like that close bond isn't there. But we were fortunate enough to like have a stepdad early on who sort of took us in and raised us like our own. So how do you think, like, did you notice like your siblings like grow up differently, or like stuff's different about them because they didn't have a father figure in the household?
I think for sure I have 2 little brothers. For sure my brothers grow up differently. Thankfully I have an older brother who kind of took on that role of being the dad.
Yeah.
God bless him, because that's a lot to take on as a teenager. He definitely has helped, financially and just like emotionally. But I definitely see a difference of like not having that complete family structure, for better or for worse, we make it work.
I want to talk a little bit about school. So like, what middle school did you attend?
Middle school. Ooh, I actually, I moved a lot, around a lot.
Yeah.
So I went to Orozco for 4th grade. 5th and 6th, I went to Pulaski up north because we were living by Logan Square. And then I got into Whitney Young's academic center program. So 7th and 8th, through high school, I was at Whitney.
How was it there at Whitney?
It was crazy. It was fun, 7th and 8th grade. And then once I got into high school, there was like, the classes were so huge.
Yeah.
I think there was like 500 per class. I definitely felt like to myself a lot of the time. But I did enjoy that Whitney has like the more of like the artistic electives.
Mhm.
I took like fashion design. I know there was like a graphic design class, ceramics. I think it definitely exposed me to my creative side, which I think is like what has helped me with the content stuff.
So you said you stayed a lot to like yourself. Was it because you weren't used to the environment, or what was that? The reason for that?
Yeah, I wasn't used to the environment.
What was different about it?
Sheesh, this is deep. I think for me, there was not a lot of like Latinos. I know we did have a few clubs that were Latino focused, but especially in the academic center program, I think there was like four total Latinos. Um, so it was kind of hard being like the small crew.
So were you like excluded, or you would exclude yourself because you weren't
I
comfortable
feel like
around like the
I
weirdos?
excluded myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel you're sort of the same thing over here. Like, I mean, the school I go to is like pretty diverse, I would say.
Yeah.
So I've never been like in a school where it's like, you know, a lot of güeros and like a little bit of Latinos. But like I play baseball, so that's definitely like a white person sport.
Yeah.
So everywhere I go, it's sort of like a lot of white kids, and sort of like I don't know how you feel about it, but it's like
I
that.
mean, even I mean, I have a full-time job in corporate, so
Yeah.
like in corporate, I feel the same way. Like it's almost like performing for me, you know,
Yeah, you
in
gotta
front
act
of
a certain
you
way.
gotta act a certain
Yeah.
way. You gotta like
Can't let that hood side come out type shit.
mhm.
Yeah. That's what it'd be like.
You gotta be talking proper and yeah. And I think too, I had a few instances in high school where like my professors and my counselors weren't as supportive as I thought they would be. I remember having one incident with my high school counselor where I told her I wanted to go to like a certain school and she was like, maybe you should you know,
Yeah.
be more realistic.
I ain't gonna lie. I hear a lot of that. Like you know, I hate it. I hate it. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just because of the color of our skin type shit. But
Yeah.
how do you respond to like negativity like that, or like people doubting you?
Honestly, in high school, it like really took a hit on my confidence. Like if my counselor really didn't think I would get in, like who am I to be
Oh, you believe there? Like you were,
yeah, it took a hit. It's, I think too, like because I had a huge family, that was not something I could really talk to my mom about. Like I didn't want to like bother her or, you know, burden her with like
high school problems.
high school problems, like my issues, right?
Yeah.
Like she has so many other stuff to think about. So yeah, it really did take a hit on my confidence. But I think looking back now, like I look back at those moments and I'm like, I can't believe I let that like get to me.
Like slide.
Yeah.
So going into, I know we talked about like AC, is that what it's called, academic center?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You felt left out. Was it sort of the same story like when you went to high school, like for like freshmen and all that?
Yeah, even more so probably because the classes got bigger, and I think too, since we took like a lot of the early classes, like we took algebra in seventh grade and geometry, we weren't like with our actual class. We were like 2 grades ahead.
Okay.
So yeah, it was like we were a little bit separated from
That's hard. I don't know how you did that. Like,
from the norm.
I'd be struggling.
Well, actually, everything happens for a reason, right? Like, because of that program, I was able to do a work study program my senior year, because I had finished all my like
What is that, a work study?
requirements.
What is that?
A work study program is basically where you take classes. I only had to take like 2 classes my senior year, and then after class you go intern at an organization,
Yeah.
at a company. The company that I was interning for was Pepsi.
Okay.
So I had 2 classes and then worked at Pepsi.
So how was that like work study program over there at Pepsi?
It was interesting.
Why do you say that?
It was the first time being exposed to a corporate environment. Again, like I couldn't really ask my mom like how to dress for work,
Yeah.
or like what a resume is, or you know, salaries or 401ks. It was the first time I had to like benefits were even like mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, let me get some arroz.
Okay.
But yeah, that was interesting. I think I was grateful for that experience because coming as a high schooler, like intern, people
Yeah.
don't expect much, so you kind of get to be like, you kind of get to make mistakes without being judged or without like people being like, you should have known this.
So what was like your job there? I'm not too familiar with like work site.
Yeah. So basically my like responsibility was to like make sure the mail was was like delivered,
Yeah.
make sure the coffee like was done. And then any like little project that needed support, I would be there to support. So I think like we had an event that we were planning where I had to search like where can we order cups with like the Pepsi logo, and where can we order like little tchotchkes, stuff like that, kind of like whatever
It wasn't too
project.
big. It was just like little stuff. But like being
Exactly.
there, were you able to like network and like get to know people?
Yeah, I got to network. My manager was actually really amazing. Exposed me to a lot of different projects and a lot of different people. And because of her, I was able, and because I stayed in Chicago for college, I was able to keep that internship through college. And then I got promoted. And I was making a pretty decent salary like through college.
Yeah. So one of our like co-founders, Ray, he's not here today, but he also told me when he was at Cristo Rey, which is another like a private high school, that he also did sort of like a work study program. And I mean, it seems like it's beneficial. I mean, you two are very successful people. Did you ever sort of feel like it was like too much on your shoulders, or was it like something you couldn't handle?
I think at some point I was like skipping class in college
Oh shit.
just
Yeah, yeah.
just to show up to my internship. But honestly, for me, like hands-on experience is what teaches me more so than like sitting in a lecture and taking notes.
Yeah.
So I definitely valued, that experience more so than college.
So it's sort of like, I'm not the same exactly for me, but I got a lot on my plate with like, I got to play ball, I got weights. Sometimes I even have practice like 7 to 9. I get home late, I got to do homework. So sometimes like mentally I'm exhausted, right? Even if I'm
Yeah.
not, even physically, but I feel like I always have someone in like Ernesto or Ray, like mentor sort of in a way that I can talk to or call up like, hey dude, like I'm stressed the fuck out. Like, and they know how to, calm me down, sometimes he just feeds me and I'm happy, like, so it's just like a good mentor to have. Did you have any mentors sort of like at PepsiCo or at Whitney or at home?
Yeah, I think for sure at Pepsi, my manager was by far the best mentor ever. I remember her telling me that I had to like start saving money. She was like my mom basically.
Yeah.
And I did. I set up a savings account, automatically like deducted a percentage of my income to go into that savings account. And I like once I left Pepsi, that savings account was hefty.
For real?
Yeah. Well, because of that, I was able to buy a house at like 20 years old. Yeah, I was
Shit.
a sophomore in college when I bought a house. Yeah.
Was that like a goal, like from like when you started saving, like, yeah, I want to save up to buy a house?
Not necessarily,
Or
no.
is that you just had money to blow?
I had
You're like, fuck it.
money, and it was either investing in the stock market, which I was like terrified to do,
Yeah.
or like investing in a property. But I knew I couldn't just have like thousands of dollars just sitting in my bank account without, something to do with it.
So you said you were a sophomore in college with a
Yeah, I was
house.
sophomore in college.
What college did you attend?
UIC.
How did you like it there? Was it sort of the same thing? I know it's pretty diverse. So
It
like,
is
was it
pretty
like
diverse.
a better jump from high school to college?
I actually really enjoyed UIC. It wasn't as rigorous as like some other schools, which is why I like was able to skip class a lot.
Yeah.
I don't condone it, but yeah, that really helped like balance the work and the school. I also got a full ride scholarship, so
Shit. How'd you do that? Just grades or what?
grades, yeah, I think.
What did you study over there? What'd you major in?
I majored in marketing.
And you're using that right now. That's fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sort of having a house at 20, was it like a new challenge? What did you find difficult about it, especially being so young?
I was shocked at how easy it was to buy. I, for some reason, growing up, thought like you had to be like 50 years old and like have 1,000 or like $1 million in your bank account to buy a house. It wasn't that hard. I think now like maintaining it is a lot more difficult. Like last week I had to get someone to look at the HVAC system because it was
I don't even
not
know.
working. The heating system.
Oh, okay.
You're like, I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
no
Oh, so you
idea
still
what
live
that is. I don't. My mom lives in. It's 2 units. My mom lives in one, and then
Oh, so you bought a building? Not,
yeah,
oh,
I rent out
shit.
the other one. So Yeah, the one that was rented out had to.
How did that feel? Like, hey, mom, I got you a fucking apartment, you know?
Great. Yeah.
Do you rent it to her or you just like let her have it?
I don't charge her much, but enough to like cover the mortgage.
Yeah, I feel you. So it seems like you're like a pretty disciplined person, you know,
Yeah.
juggling school, a job, and then shit, buying a house, you know. I try to sort of implement discipline into my life like a great deal because, I mean, I'm sure you know, like there's days you wake up and you just don't want to do anything. And even like sometimes being at work, I'm sure like, fuck, like I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
What are some ways you stay motivated?
I think finding things that you truly love to do. A lot of times when people are like burnt out, they think you just like need rest.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case. Oh, that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times what you need to do is like replenish your energy, which comes through like doing things that you love to, like genuinely love to do. One for me is the gym. Like if I miss the gym like for an entire week, I start feeling depressed. Like I start like
I'm the same.
I start spiraling.
What gym do you go to?
LA Fitness.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big fucking gym guy too. What's your favorite like body part to hit?
Legs.
You can squat a lot. You put on a lot of weight.
Legs.
Yeah.
100. Yeah.
100 pounds?
No, I'm saying like 100%.
Oh,
like
so
I
it's
can
kinda
go
whack.
down on.
How much you
on
squat?
things. Like 2 plates.
Damn, bro, she squat more than you, dog. Nah, that's good. That's fire. That's good. I squat 4.
Yeah, no, you're lying.
I got a video. I'm dead ass. I'm a big boy.
We're going to gym together after this.
So sort of like piggyback off of what I said earlier, like about like asking Ernesto like, hey, how can I put myself out there more, brand myself? I see you do a lot of that like on your TikTok. Can you tell like the people a little bit about what you like to post and the reason for you posting what you do?
Yeah, it's funny because I never like really saw myself as a content creator, but I moved out of my apartment that I had with my roommates into my own apartment here in Pilsen actually, and I like took a video of me, you know, not thinking much of it, like putting up like my curtains and the frames and putting my bed together, and that video went viral. I think it hit like 3 million, maybe 4 million views.
How does the pay work with that? Were you paid right away or
No, not on TikTok. On TikTok, you have to hit 10,000 before you get on the creator program.
10,000 views or
10,000 followers.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and then once it's not much. It's not life changing money.
Yeah.
Once you're on there, then you get paid per view. But yeah, so it kind of like hit me out of nowhere, and then people were just asking questions like, how'd you move out, and you know, where'd you buy that? So I just kept making videos, and now I just like make like vlogs. I like love plants, so I have a lot of plants in my apartment, and you know, people ask questions about those.
So that's pretty much like just vlogs, plants, and
plants, and then the occasional, because I just, you know, love my community and stuff. I have a lot of videos with my mom because our relationship has been like blossoming in recent years. And I think people find that inspiring. I know a lot of people have, you know, we have broken relationships with our dads. A lot of people have broken relationships with their moms. So seeing that, especially from a Latina, I think is like inspirational for people.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine what like that mother to like daughter like relationship is. I don't really, you know, I mean, I got a son to mother. I mean, that's my girl. I love my mom. Like, she's my rock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you. So, oh, there it is. So like social media, could you like give the audience or some young people some tips on how to brand yourself properly and how to get yourself out there?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with social media is confidence, because I feel like the confidence part is something you can see on screen. And it really is just like you will find the confidence when you start posting about things you genuinely love, right? Like if you're talking about it with your friends, like if it's something you genuinely do every day, you don't have to perform in a way, right? To be on social media. And that's when you can like really take it like long term, right? A lot of people give up because they don't want to be doing this one thing for like ever, right?
Yeah.
But when it's genuinely you and authentically you, right? Like it's coming from your own interests and not you trying to perform for the camera, then it's something you can sustain for a long time. And that's really what you need, consistency and discipline on social media to like really make it.
No, that's something I definitely struggle with myself.
Yeah.
Like even now, trying to make like little like workout videos, sort of trying to talk to the camera. It's like I find myself like fuck, repeat, just keep
Yeah.
going. Did you struggle with that a little bit at the beginning, or it was?
Yeah, I still struggle with the speaking to the camera part.
Yeah,
It's something I'm trying to work on. But for me, I think what works and like what has been helping me is going live on TikTok.
yeah,
So I like become familiar like speaking to people in general. I think too doing just voiceovers over the videos. So like if you just take videos of you like working out, maybe talk about like
Oh,
why
and
you're
talk over
doing
it. Yeah,
talk
yeah,
over it, why you're doing certain
yeah, yeah.
or like what you're doing in the day. That really helps. The voice thing like really helps people connect with you. Otherwise, you're just like someone on the screen. Versus when they hear your voice
Like
and like
talking to him.
yeah, talking to them like genuinely, like then they feel like you're their friend.
Yeah.
You know.
So I took a look at your TikTok and your Instagram, and I see you got a lot of followers.
Mm-hmm.
Was this something that happened very quickly, or something that like accumulated like over years?
I think I've been on there for like a little bit over a year.
Okay. On what? TikTok or IG?
TikTok.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. A little over a year, so definitely takes time. And I think I've definitely had like seasons of like I didn't want to post.
Yeah.
I think more so because I was like scared. I like gained a lot of followers at once, and then I was like, who's watching, or like
Yeah.
so yeah, that confidence part is really what like you got to get through for me too. But yeah, it definitely takes time. I mean, for some people, they blow up overnight and gain millions of followers.
Mm-hmm.
For others, it takes like years.
Okay.
There's no like perfect path or like perfect way to do it.
So like I mean I told you a little bit how I'm trying to start my own TikTok and
Mm-hmm.
little content stuff. What are like some tips you have for me or like anyone trying to start as far as gear or like software you use to edit and stuff like that?
I use my phone. I know everyone thinks
Like
that
iMovie or what do you use like on your phone? Like what app?
camera, like
Oh, you
the
just edit
camera
it?
app.
Just
Yeah,
credit? Oh,
the cam.
shit.
I film on the camera app and then I edit on CapCut,
Oh,
which is like an editing app that
okay.
actually TikTok owns it, so it's very similar to the editing on like the actual TikTok
Yeah.
app. Yeah, that's all I use. I know a lot of people. I mean, and my tripod. A lot of people. I get questions on like what like actual camera do I use because the quality is so good. It's just my iPhone.
Yeah.
I think that the iPhone the camera has gotten really great like in the past couple of years. Like it's almost as good as like professional
Yeah, I
cameras.
think they're clear. So, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, there's other like little details that the big
Yeah.
cameras can get, but I think they're clear as fuck.
I
Like they're
think
nice.
the one like a tip I think I could give is like lighting plays a huge role. For me, I have a lot of sunlight, but when I don't, like the video quality definitely like takes a hit, and you can definitely see the difference. So take advantage of good lighting.
So is content creation something you see like being your full-time job anytime soon or what?
I don't know if I would say like full-time job, but I have enjoyed getting to meet other content creators. A lot of like really unique opportunities have come my way because of it. So I don't see myself stopping it. But I don't know about full-time just because I don't want to be 100% dependent on brand deals and viewership for my income. And two, I think like when you solely depend on content creation as your income, that creativity part, at least for me, kind of takes a hit as well, right?
Yeah.
And I also enjoy doing like other things. I don't see myself doing corporate like full time for much longer, but there are so many different ways to like
Yeah.
make money.
So,
Maybe start a business or start an agency. I don't know, but definitely
so what are like some of your interests like business wise? Like what do you like to do?
business wise.
Yeah, what do you think like your business would be?
I really enjoy creating video, so I can see myself like sorry, I'm letting the
I can't even hear the
I can definitely see myself doing like a more creative role in the future, maybe like working on music videos or directing photo shoots or something like that. It's something I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Every time I do it, it's like me and my like zone of genius is what they call it. It's like when you like almost like become a different person because you enjoy doing it so much. You like snap into it.
Like sort of in the zone type shit.
Yeah, in the zone type shit.
I
Yep.
feel you. So I know you're young, you know, we talked a little bit about like, you know, you getting a house at 20, and I don't know if you would say that you like made it, like how you feel on that, but I know myself and a lot of young people that are like my boys, or, you know, even girls that I know would be like, yeah, she made it. You know, she's blown up on TikTok. She has a lot of followers on IG. She has a house. Like she clearly has like a good income. Like, do you feel like you've made it?
I feel like I'm grateful for everything I've accomplished, but I definitely don't feel like I've made it.
Okay.
I feel like I have so many other dreams and aspirations and goals that I'm still working towards. And I don't know if like I made it is ever gonna be like a thing. You know, I'm like, I'm done. I'm like retire. I can retire.
Yeah.
I will always have a passion that I'm working on. But yeah, I definitely feel like I don't have to, you know, think about where the rent is gonna come from or like where am I gonna eat
Yeah.
or what I'm gonna eat. And I mean I've been taking my mom on trips. Like I've definitely so grateful for everything that I've had.
I feel you. I want to talk a little more about what you make on TikTok. So
Sure.
I was going through your TikTok a little bit, and I see that you like very big on like empowering women who want like self improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you talk a little bit about that. Like, why do you feel that you have to do that,
I
or
don't
why
know.
do you do that?
I think that comes naturally to me.
Okay.
I have always like even like my friends are always like you inspire me so much. Like it genuinely again comes from a place of like authenticity. I think too like seeing my mom like struggle a lot. I hate seeing women like be dependent on someone else for their income, their happiness, their like life. So I definitely encourage women specifically, but also Latinos in general, to really like put their best foot forward. Create vision boards is my thing.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
You don't know what a vision
Nah.
board is, sir. So a vision board is like I think it's like customary to do one every like year, the beginning of the year
Yeah.
to like set your goals and stuff. But you create a board with like pictures of everything that you want to accomplish. So if
Okay.
you like want to lose weight, like your gym pictures. If you like
Oh.
are looking to buy a house this year, like what kind of house are you looking for? The keys to your house. And that it works psychologically in the sense that you're seeing it. Yeah, and you're visualizing it yourself. I don't know if you've ever seen that Drake interview of like he would drive by the mansion that he wanted
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah.
so that he can like visualize himself like seeing it. It's like kind of that same concept of like you're seeing your goals every day on this board, and it like psychologically triggers you to like continue working hard to achieve those.
So it's sort of like a school poster or whatever, and you put like, you think of a goal like, hey, I want a house. You just throw a picture of keys on there, and you like paint it up in your room or something.
Yep. So every time you're like,
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like encouraging like all Latinos, especially like women or young girls. I have a little sister as well. We have a little sister, and I like hearing that. I feel like we need more of Latina like people in power, or like even like people like you who just encourage Latinas, young Latinas, to love themselves and never be afraid to sort of improve.
yeah.
I mean, I know growing up, young like boys are idiots. We say ignorant stuff, especially about girls, and but like when I had a sister, a lot of that was sort of like, I want her to grow up and sort of know how to love herself and just be strong, be independent, like you said. I don't want her like depending on anybody for anything. Sort of being
Yeah.
like you, like you're strong. You got your own financial income on your own. You're not depending on anybody. So it's nice to hear that. So we talked about that. Here at Urban Warriors, we have a young girl soccer team, a developmental soccer team. So, we take young girls from the community of all ages. It doesn't matter. If you want to play, you're in. It's free to play. We give you uniforms, coaches. You go out to like facilities or the field and you just practice and get better. Do you ever see yourself sort of being like a community leader or like doing something like that with young girls in different Latino communities?
It's so funny you say that because I'm very introverted. Like,
Okay.
probably why I love being alone in my room, like making videos, right? I enjoy it so much just because I love being a loner. Um, which is why I like growing up, I never really saw myself as like a leader because, like, to be a leader, you have to be confident and like in front of many people. But recently, going on live on TikTok with like hundreds of people watching you at
Yeah.
once. And I actually had a vision board party at Samia's this past weekend where like I kind of did like manage a couple of girls and like made my speech, and it took a lot of energy from me, but it was something that I truly enjoyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely see myself kind of getting into that space. Obviously, I'm still working on
What you got?
getting comfortable in front of a lot of people, especially like in person. I think I'm getting comfortable online. But yeah, I think it's something that comes naturally to me as well.
I feel you. I'm sort of like the same way. I like to say, growing up, like keeping to myself, rather like I like to like read the room or like observe before I speak.
Yep.
I feel like it's way better to see how people act and how they react,
Yeah.
that rather than just like going in there and just talking.
Yeah, I mean, and too, like, sorry.
No, go.
And too, holding on to those beliefs for me, like, oh, I'm a quiet girl, I'm like a shy girl, I could never do that. Like, holding on to those beliefs is actually what like stops us from doing things that we might enjoy, right? Like me doing that event, me like being on TikTok, I would have never guessed it. Like me being a shy girl, like
Yeah.
I would have never guessed I would be making videos that millions of people would see, or hosting events with like dozens of girls, making vision boards. But now that I'm doing it, it's like something I truly enjoy.
Yeah.
And what if I would have let that belief of like
That shy girl
the
mentality.
shy girl mentality, I would have never done it, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing here. Like I said, I was, I like keeping to myself, don't really like talking. And even Ernesto, like even now, like he's on my ass, like, hey dude, you gotta, you're a leader. I need you to be vocal. I need you to talk to the guys. And it's something I struggled with for a while, and I'm just getting good at it. Like I know you just talked about a leader has to be confident, vocal. And that just wasn't me. Like it was, my confidence sucked. I didn't like, speaking out. I felt like I was gonna say something dumb. But like you said, like if I would have held back or didn't at least attempt to be a good leader, I would definitely not be where I'm at. I would not meet the people that I've met. So yeah, that's pretty dope. So I'm pretty much done with my questions. But one thing I do like to do on the show is sort of get tell the viewers a takeaway or something that I'm like grateful for from this conversation, because this is a valuable conversation. So I'm just thankful for you coming, first of all. And I'm really grateful that, we have people like you in the world, and who are not afraid of, like earlier I was talking about my little sister, not afraid to show young Latinas or any kind of Latina to, love themselves and never be afraid of self-improvement. It's something that I feel like our community, or like, what would you say, our culture definitely struggles with, a lot of like, oh, stay at the house, cook, clean. And I feel like that's bullshit, and I feel like you represent something really good, and you represent like, get off your ass and go make it happen yourself. And I really respect that, and I admire that. So thank you. Before we do end though, is there anything you want to leave the viewers with? I don't know if you want to like tag yourself, say your socials or whatever.
No. I will say again, like those beliefs are really what hold us back. And I think too, the thing that you're scared of the most is probably the thing that you want the most. For me, like I looked at influencers or content creators and I was like, I could never.
Yeah. I feel you.
And here I am.
All right, well, it's been real, everybody. I'm your host, George Salazar. See you guys next time. Thank you.
Thanks.